was interesting, Rex, and I liked it. These are sorts of things we now need to start thinking about. It's not about blaming. Yeah. Oh, well, there is a split, yeah. But I think we, as people here, have got to recognise it.
Before we bring anyone else here.
Well, that was the point of me saying earlier that we didn't want government to come in. It's about the mob here making decisions about the future of this place. And until that happens, then, you know, we've got to do it. And it's a must, and our mob got to take the responsibility for it now. We've got some strong Moree people here, strong young people here too, who are educated and all the rest of it. And so that you raised a good thing there, and that was one of the things that I want to throw around today, and that is about the school. We talked about health and everything for many years, and it's a skill that I'd really like to throw up today, and it's about, I want to put it to you about, let's take it over as Moree people. There's plenty of Aboriginal Moree schools around Queensland and New South. We've got this here in our hands, and it's only a matter of people making the right decisions. We've got our own teachers here, we've got Moree teachers here, and we can bring in, yeah, and we can, you know, we got some good white political ones, whatever you want to call them, but really good chairs for support. But we're talking about Moree control now, and I think we need to, there's people out there who are willing to come tomorrow if we want them, to write it up and do more talking and consulting about that sort of stuff. So if people are willing to talk about it here today, let's get stuck into it, because that's why we're here today. We're not mucking around today, we want to get down to the nitty-gritty and talk about the proper stuff. And it's not about blaming one another, it's about supporting one another today. And let's move on. Bob, you want to have Yanay be with Bob, or whoever else? Or you want to have Yanay? All expertise, that's needed to address all of this, we've already got it in the community. We just need to start using it.
Alright, yeah, my name is Paul Spearim. My traditional bloodlines come from this area as well. I just want to say, one of the things that we did up in Brisbane there with the Sovereign Embassy there was we sat there for 2.5 months, and one of the important things we did was we brought in non-Indigenous people, we brought in the unions, we brought in the hippies from the street just to help with this fight. Now, for over 60 to 90 years, they've been fighting to try and get back this Musgrave Park. So after 2.5 months of sitting there and not protesting, but having a friendly gathering, or a peaceful gathering, they've achieved that now. You know, the council turned around and said, okay, the traditional owners of this land in Gamilaraay, we're going to give you that after Musgrave Park. And one of the things I spoke to Madeline and Gladys and a few other people over the last couple of weeks is, we all know there's a problem here. It's in every single community. It's about what we're going to do about it. And we know there are a lot of experts in the community that can help. And we have to tap into that. You know, one of my visions is to see an embassy set up here. Either put it out on the highway there. Because if you put it here, it's hidden away. You put it out on the highway, because that's the main thoroughfare from, you know, Queensland to Victoria, and they can see that, okay, these black people here, they really got to fight for something, instead of being hidden away all the time, because that's what the white people want. They want us to be hidden away in the back lots, you know, and behind the scrub. And one of the things we have to really do and consider here today is, what do we want to do? Because everybody's coming here and talked and talked and talked, and nothing's happened. At the moment, there's a great opportunity where everyone can come together and say, okay, let's do something now. Let's set up an embassy here, whether it's an embassy, or let's bring in all the people here to the community and start doing positive things rather than negative things all the time. Because that's what's bringing down every single Aboriginal community in Australia. You know, the non-Indigenous people, they want every single black person fighting against each other and criticising each other, bringing each other down, because that just means their job is done. You know, so all I just wanted to say is myself, living in Brisbane, and we've got a busload of people from Brisbane here now who are willing to help and set up with the support and acknowledgement of the community here at Embassy, where we can start trying to fight for these things here. Better care for the children, better education, safety, all these sort of things, because they're very important. And to make sure that we bring back those cultural protocols. And protocols is a terrible word. Bring back those traditional laws so that our kids can walk down there and see that platypus. So they can look up in that tree there and see them birds. And they'll know their songline and storylines, because we've got to bring back that old law, because that's what's missing from every single community of Gamilaraay, our law. So anyways, I'd like to thank you all anyways for coming along.
Thanks, Michael. I think that brings us to the opportunity to, Bob's coming up anyway, but I think we'll call on Michael in line one just to explain to people what sovereignty means and what it stands for today.
Thanks for the invitation. It's lovely to come back to Toomelah. As you know, I'm Weatherall, and my bloodline comes back this way too. There's a lot of blood, bone, skin and hair in this country of our ancestors and old people, and it's a special place. And there's special people here who've got special connection and belong to this place. Will, you said the most important thing, I think, and that is you have the expertise here, you have the people here, you're the people who basically pull this back together again. You know what it is, but I appreciate the sharing from Norman and others of what the problem is here. It's going to be yourselves, basically. It's your autonomy, your control, the way that you want it. The government has always been oppressive, and they discriminate against us, and they create these types of things. They will remove all the resources and whatever else that you require to basically continue to live in a healthy community, in a cultural community of your own. You have that opportunity, and normally you talk about, gathering together and all that sort of thing. We've got to do that in all our communities. And we have our ups and downs, and there's blues amongst us, but sometimes the blues just go on, and there may be silly little blues. There's going to be somebody in the community who can help bring that together. And it's probably the young fellas that's around, and he's waiting to have a say, and I'd like to hear from the young fellas around here, because it's their future, and they want to see what their community can be. It's them who are going to build that capacity in the future. And I'd like to hear more from the people here, as well as the elders and some of the young people, because obviously they're very, very concerned about the future of all youth and all the elders and generally in the community. And just listen to what Paul had to say then as well. Sovereignty, self-determination, self-management and autonomy, all that is what you own. That belongs to you. That's your community. That's your kin. And that's all that belongs to you. And you can take control. That's what it is. Like you always did. You still have control. You're still here. You belong to the country. You're not going nowhere. So it's going to be up to you to basically sort it out. And there's people around who will come and give you a hand if that's what you want. And, I really appreciate coming back and having a look and what have you. I have to listen to the media and they talk about dysfunction and whatever else. Well, I know one thing about dysfunction. It's not Aboriginal communities, it is the government. Because they do not know about how we work together and what our needs and aspirations are. It is government. They continue to think that they have the solution for Aborigines. We have our own solutions in our own community, in our own country, and what we know what's best for us. Always maintain that. You know that in your heart, you speak it every day, you act it every day. That's your sovereignty.
We'll go on, Michael, now to give us some explanations about sovereignty.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. Just, I suppose, the simple way of explaining sovereignty, a lot of people get a bit tied up with this concept of sovereignty because we really don't understand how it applies, how it works for people in the communities, and how does it affect people. Let me explain sovereignty this way. You've got Bobby Weatherall there. Now, Bobby Weatherall is an individual black fellow, Gomeroi man, and he has the power to make his own decisions about himself, where he lives, what he does, what sort of work he does. He also controls his own money. He controls how he lived as a young man, the type of things that he did, and he took responsibility for the decisions that he made as a young man. That's a sovereign individual person, and he never gave anyone the power over him to make any decision about him, and so if he did, he would be given his sovereignty away. But Bob has a problem, because later on Bob falls in love with a woman, and then he married Robin, and then all of a sudden, now Bob gives half his sovereignty to Robin. And in fact, Robin also gives half of her sovereign powers to Bob, because now they make decisions together. Right? So they treated with each other. They made an arrangement with each other to live together and to make decisions about their lives and to care for each other. And then they have children, and then they give a little bit more of their sovereignty away because now they've got kids and now they've got to look after those kids. They've got to give them power, they've got to empower them, how to grow up and how to live. And of course Bob, if he's a proper man, a sovereign man, then he now has to earn and make a living for his kids, put a roof over their heads, educate them, enculturate them in the culture he wants, teach them how to language, teach them how to live with other people. But he still has not given his sovereignty, nor has his wife, nor has his family given his sovereignty away to anyone else to make decisions about him, because he's still making decisions about him and now his little family. And so his shared sovereignty is only with his family. Now, as a collective of people, we, the Gamilaraay people, we never gave anybody the power to make rules and laws for us as a people. We had our own laws. We always had our own laws. But when the white fellow came in, he took us away, he took our land, he fenced off the land, he shot us out, poisoned us out, locked us up in mission camps because there wasn't enough of us to fight him. And so he took control of our sovereignty. We never gave it to him. He took control of that sovereignty. And so for us now to fight him back, we have to assert our sovereignty as a people. We'll never do it as Toomelah Mission, we'll never do it as Mirrabooka, we'll never do it as Wonga, we'll never be able to be. But the important thing here now is for us to join forces as the Gamilaraay Nation, as a body of people, all working towards with each other and working for the same thing, and that is to get and restore the power back into ourselves, into our people, so we make the laws for ourselves. We never gave anyone the power to make laws for us. See, every day we live under a white man's rule. We live under a foreign rule. We have to do everything they tell us to do. Now, if you look at this community, part of our problem here is that, you see, they kept us poor. They kept the resources away from us. We don't have any resources. If we had resources, you wouldn't have these problems that exist, because you could do your own thing. And so when they keep you poor, they keep control over your life. And when they give you a pension, when they give you dole, they get control over you, because you're dependent on them. And that's the problem we have within our communities all around this country. We are dependent on the white man. Every time, we always talk with forked tongue, us Morees, and we talk
with forked tongues because we want two ways. Yeah? One, we want to do it ourselves and do our own thing, and then when the white fella come in and start doing things and start giving us things, yes, we need it, but we're not prepared to tell him to take it away unless we own it. We let him come in, he owns it, he builds it for us, and then he goes away. And every day we turn around all the time and say, I wish we had this here, I wish we had that there, but we haven't got it. And we can't make a difference to ourselves because they keep us poor. They keep the money away from us, they keep the resources away from us. So how do we change that? And this is the big challenge and the big question that we got, is how do we change that? You know, one of the things is, like, I'm sure this community, you've got your own plans, you've got your own ideas, and the only thing that's stopping you is money. Who's got the money? The white fellas got the money, and they keep it away from us. So our challenge now is to turn that around. How do we change that? How do we change it? And of course we can all look at each other and we can say, well, how much money you got in your pocket? You know? How much money Bobby Weatherall got in his pocket? And he probably just got enough to get him over to Brisbane. You know, he might be catching the church man on the way back, or petrol. But this is the point. How do we begin to get up on our feet? Because when we get on our feet, that's when we can tell the white man, go on, run and jump. This is our country. And this is what we want to do. So think about those things, because these are the things that we're going to have to ask each other, that we have to talk to each other about. How do we get our independence? And our independence will not come without money, trust me. I've been in and out of Africa now for the last 15 years. And I've been invited over. I got no money, so they pay me to go over. And they fly me into Africa. I go to Zimbabwe, I go to Kenya, I go to Nigeria, and I go into South Africa. And the last conference I went to in Harare in Zimbabwe, they had a conference there where all the presidents and foreign ministers from those black countries, Cameroon, you know, Malawi, all those places, all them black fellas, all them black leaders came in. We were sitting in the convention centre, and I was a guest, as I've been for the last 8 years. And I went in there and I sat and listened to these black fellas, these black presidents. Now these people run their own country. They liberated themselves from England, Germany, Brussels, from what's that little place there? I think France. They liberated themselves from those countries. And you see, when they liberated themselves, they had all the natural resources. They had gold wheat in Zimbabwe, they had rivers of gold there. Truly, they had more gold than you can focus here. But you see, their money's not worth anything. You go to South Africa, their money's not worth anything. You go to all in black countries, their money is not worth anything. And so the only way they deal with the white man and other foreign countries is that they have to trade their gold, they have to trade their diamonds, they have to trade their natural resources. That's the only way. Nobody will deal with a lot of them black African nations with cash. They only deal with them with gold bullion, oil, or diamonds. And so one of the things that came out, and this really fits our situation here in Australia. You see, if you look at Australia, believe it or not, we own, as Aboriginal people in Australia, a country that's the same size as the United States of America, landmass. We are, and if you look at that country on the map, it shows how big it is. And then think about this. We own, as Aboriginal people in this country, we own 27% of this country. That's how much land we own in this country. That's bigger than some of them countries in Europe. Now our problem is, like them Africans, their presidents, they got governments, they run all everything themselves. But you see, they have no money. They don't own the money in their countries. They do not own their money. Foreign countries, Japan, China, Russia, America, they own the money that's in those African nation states. And so they can't do their thing like, and be free like they want to be. Because they're still caught up with money, welfare. And so we, on a smaller scale, are in the same boat. Now, I understand, you know, like this here land, a lot of other land belongs to the Land Council, the New South Wales Land Council. You don't own it. And if you read the Act, the Minister owns the land. Not you, not us. The Minister under the Land Rights Act. He is the boss. Them black fellas sitting down there in Sydney who get elected, you know, they're just Uncle Tom. They're little puppets. They can toe the line. They step out of the line, they'll sack them. It's as easy as that. And right now they're under threat of being sacked. Those fellas who you elected as councillors who just went in there like Anderson, keep my own mob, keep my own blood. Now I keep telling them, that fellow who's the CEO in that land council, he got more power than you as an elected representative. Read the Act. He don't have to take notice of what you fellas say as elected members. He's the power man. Read the Act. And the other bloke who got more power than him is the registrar of the Land Rights Act. That bloke's got the power. He can shut you down any time he wants to. He can just walk in and close it down, take everything back. You have no control as a people. Now, you here, just like every other land council, you're paying rates in the Moree Shire Council. Now let me give you another story about the Moree Shire. You see, every black fellow in the Moree Shire, man, woman and child, the federal government pay their money for you. You will get paid, there's a lot of money that get paid to you fellas, to the Moree Shire, for you people as Aboriginal people in the Moree Shire. Every man, woman and child is worth something like about $38 or $42 a head. And so the more black fellas they have in the Moree Shire, the more money they get from the Commonwealth government for black fellas. Now what do they do with that money? The question is, what do? They certainly don't put it into Toomelah. They don't put it into the top camp, bottom camp, Moree. They don't do that. And on top of that, they then, you as a land council, you have to pay rates on top of that to the Moree Shire. What do they do for you? Now all they've done is, as I think Alfie just explained, they've rezoned these areas as residential estates. And as a residential estate, even though they don't provide you any services, they still charge you rates. And they charge you a lot of money. Right, so your land council's going broke. Every day you're insolvent, you can't operate. So what you have to do is work out how does all this work? Now let me say this, the Land Rights Act was changed about 5 years ago. And it was changed to allow and say that all the land councils and the New South Wales Land Council is the equivalent of the New South Wales local government. And that's what the New South Wales Land Council is. It's a local government. It has the same status by law. Now the question is, if that land council is the same as the Shire councils of New South Wales and the rest of Australia, well then why is one Shire council paying rates to another Shire council? Why are you paying rates? Because they are themselves the Shire council. And what they're doing is that these people are ripping our people off. And these are black fellas who's running this organisation. So the problem we got is that we got black fellas running these organisations at that state level who are totally illiterate and are totally cheating our people in terms of how we're supposed to be running. Right, so, you know, Alfie asked me to talk about something the other day in Moree. The people there don't want to pay rates because they're getting nothing in return for it. And so he put out a press release in conjunction with me, and we put out a press release and said, why should the people pay rent to live on their own land? Now when people ask me why they just put the embassy up in Canberra in 1972, we put it up because Billy McMahon wanted to rent land to black fellas. And here we got a black organisation renting land to black fellas. And yeah, but it doesn't matter. The fact is, why should we be paying to live on our own land? Why? Why should we pay a white man money or paying a black man money to live on our own land? It just don't add up. Think about it. And so the question is, how then do we change all this? And this is something that we as a people have got to make these decisions. They're hard decisions. It's just like, you know, everyone's saying now, how do we deal with the kids? How do we bring that back? How do we bring back some order? You know, like a bully never hurt me, and I got lifted a lot of times for doing the wrong thing. And I'm sure half of us around here can all tell the same story. That our old people got into us when they needed to be. But they punished us, but they didn't kill us, they didn't break our home, they didn't do all that thing. But they taught us respect. And our problem is, like that woman in Lightning we said about 3 months ago, at the government office when the police and everybody came together to talk about wild children. She said, you know, and for those religious people, you forgive me, but this is exactly what she said. She said, the other day, and this was a police superintendent standing there in front of the meeting, and they were asking about how do we get to control our kids. And she said that my kid, my grandchild, went to walk out of the house at 10 o'clock at night, and she said, he's 8-year-old, and I said to him, where are you going? He said, I'm going down the street. And she said, no, you're not. And he said, you can't stop me. She said, yes, I can. And he said, now, if you hit me, I'll call the police. And she looked at him and she said, well, I'm going to hit you anyway. And he said, fuck you, and he walked out. Now, we did not teach our kids that. The law, the white man's law, makes it possible for our kids to do that. You hit that kid with a stick or a flog or a belt, the kid put a charge on you, he can divorce you, and then you get charged and you end up being a criminal, a child abuser. Now, if that's the way white people want to bring up their kids, well then so be it, let them bring up their kids that way. But they've applied it to our kids, and that's where we're losing control. And so, with the Sovereign Union and National Unity Government, one of the things that we're talking about now, and I talked to the fellows in the Northern Territory, they rang me and asked me about it, and they're going to join up. But you see, they said, if you want to join up, well then let's start applying our law, our way, on our land. So if you own this land, you live here, you make the rules on how you live here. You make the rules. And it's time you pull the police in here and sit them down here and say, listen, on this place, we're going to rule our place the way we want to rule it. Because if you don't, you're not going to get out of this problem. You know? And the best one I've ever seen was a rape matter that happened in Weatherall many years ago. And the old men got hold of that young fella, tied him between the trees, stripped him off, doing it the way we do it out west, or the way they used to. Stripped him, got every woman, every child, male, female, give him a stick, the man tied between trees, standing up, and they all had one hit at him. They were allowed to hit him once. Then when they finished, another old woman had a fire stick, and the other old man came along with a very sharp knife, cut off his ball ass. She stuck the fire stick up underneath them and made sure that he never raped anyone again. And he, well, I don't know what he did, but he did. They wrapped him up in a blanket and said, oh, look here, someone done something bad to this, but he's taking it off. Now, if we have to resort to that sort of rule in our country, and you want to get control, then we're going to do it our way. Our way. If you don't do it our way, you'll be sitting down here for the next 20 years complaining about your kids. So, we have to change the rules. This is our decision as a people. It's no one else's. And if we're going to be fair dinkum about being blackfellas again, and want to do it our way, assert our sovereignty, and take title back to who we are, and be responsible for who we are, we have to make those hard decisions. And if you don't make those hard decisions, you're going to be crying out for a white man to fix you up for the rest of your lives. Thank you.